Hi and welcome to our SatScreen Reporting Deep Dive video series. In this video, we will be reviewing the RDI graph found in the pattern-based reporting section on the first page of the SatScreen report. Before we get started, all examples herein are intended to demonstrate cases where the reference condition may be likely. SatScreen reports are intended for use as an objective screening tool only and should not be used to diagnose any disease or condition. The RDI, or Respiratory Disturbance Index, is broken down into two sections and a total. The indicator on the left is the amount of rares per hour. The indicator on the right is the amount of greater than 4% desaturations per hour. Finally, the center indicator is the total events per hour. It's important to understand that the RDI reported in SatScreen is different than the AHI scored in a sleep lab or on a home sleep test. While the two indexes are closely correlated in the number of events per hour used to detect OSA, oximeters like the SleepSat do not record airflow or respiratory effort data to discern between apneas, hypopneas, central, or obstructive events. This is why our device is for screening and titration only, and diagnoses should be sought through a home sleep test or in-lab PSG. We will start breaking down the RDI graph with RARAs, or respiratory event-related arousal. Minor SpO2 desaturations with a fall in oxygen saturation between 2 and 4% followed by an autonomic arousal. These events are not always scored on home sleep tests or in lab PSGs. Next, we have the other half of RDI with greater than 4% desaturations. Average number of greater than 4% oxygen desaturations per hour of VRT, or valid recording time. Greater than 4% desaturations typically correlate to the AHI on a home sleep test or in-lab PSGs. Primary difference from AHI is apneas and hypopneas require direct or derived airflow signal. Finally, the number in the center is our RDI, which is the RARA and greater than 4% desaturations combined. I will be showing three examples of each range. Notice how the rest of the pattern-based report changes and how the raw data looks different on each report. RDI is a great tool, but it should always be used in tandem with the rest of the data provided by the SatScreen report. We start with the normal range. Our first report has a total RDI of 3, and while these reports are within the normal range, normal here means OSA is unlikely, but it does not rule out upper airway resistance syndrome, primary snoring, and other types of sleep disorders. Our second normal example has an RDI of 1 that breaks down into 1 rara per hour and 0 greater than 4% desaturations. Our third example has an RDI of 3 that breaks down to 2 rara per hour and 1 greater than 4% desaturation. Notice the raw data shows more activity in the pulse channel. So while the RDI is low, again this means OSA is unlikely, but it does not rule out upper airway resistance syndrome, primary snoring, or other types of sleep disorders. The mild RDI range is 5 to 14 in combination with EDS or another comorbidity. EDS is excessive daytime sleepiness. And here, in the raw data, we are seeing more instances of cycling denoted by the black line underneath the SpO2 channel in the raw data. Our second mild example has an RDI of 11 that breaks down into 4 rara per hour and 7 greater than 4% desaturations. This third example of the 5 to 14 mild range has an RDI of 13 that breaks down into 8 rara per hour and 5 greater than 4% desaturations. The moderate RDI range is 15 to 30. Here on the first moderate example with an RDI of 16, looking at the raw data, again we can see that the instances of cycling denoted by the black underlines have become consistent throughout the night. Our second mild example has an RDI of 30 that breaks down into 5 rara per hour and 25 greater than 4% desaturations. This third example of the 15 to 30 moderate range has an RDI of 24 that breaks down into 8 rara per hour and 16 greater than 4% desaturations. The final range of our common RDI guidelines for obstructive sleep apnea is severe at an RDI greater than 30. Our first example has an RDI of 37, and in this range, we recommend encouraging your patient to see a sleep physician immediately. This second example has an RDI of 40 that breaks down into 12 rara per hour and 28 greater than 4% desaturations. In the raw data, instead of patches of cycling, we have longer periods of continuous cycling throughout the night. This third example of the greater than 30 severe range has an RDI of 60 that breaks down into 3 rara per hour and 57 greater than 4% desaturations. Again, we do encourage that patients with screening results that fall within this range seek out medical attention immediately. RDI can be used to objectively titrate an oral appliance. One method to do so would be to set up a baseline with 1 to 2 tests, subjectively titrate, then objectively test. Using this method, we can easily view progress using the RDI of each test viewed here on the multi-night report that SatScreen offers. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching.